Hello and welcome to the first episode of The Roma Revolution and my first ever Football Manager YouTube video. My name is Ben and I've been playing Football Manager since around 2004 when my dad bought me the game for Christmas. I've been watching Football Manager YouTube videos for a few years now and it has been something that I've always been interested in doing, but I've never quite bitten the bullet and done it until now. So hopefully you all enjoy this video and the series to come. Now, the clue is in the title. We are doing a save with Roma. Now, the reason I chose Roma is because they are considered to be one of the biggest teams never to win the Champions League. They've obviously finished a runners-up a couple of times, but I want to be the person to deliver their first Champions League title. Alongside that, they have struggled in Italy for a fair while now. They last won Serie A in 2001, and their most recent trophy was actually in 2008, winning the Italian Cup. So they have gone 12 years without winning a trophy. So hopefully we can also restore them to being one of the bigger clubs, if not the biggest clubs in Italy, along the way to winning that Champions League. Now, today's episode is just going to be a series introduction. I'm going to have a look through the squad, the club vision, finances, see how much transfer budget we have to play with, and then the next episode will be a roundup of all the transfers I've made, along with our first Serie A game of the season. So without further ado, let's have a look and see what we've got to play with. And we'll start by having a look at the squad. So, based on ability, our best player at the club, according to this, is Edin Dzeko. Now, obviously, a lot of you will know him based on his days at Manchester City. He is a bit old now at 33, but he's still got a good, rounded attributes to be a good striker for me. Might be a place where I look in to bring a younger replacement based on what we might have elsewhere in the squad, but 17 finishing, he's still right up there. 4-star current ability, 4-star potential, so he's still one that could do a good job for us. Now, obviously, they've also got Nicolo Zaniolo, really good young talent and someone I'll probably look to build the squad around. He can play on the right or in the middle at either attacking midfielder or centre midfielder. He's also not too bad on the left either. As I say, 20 years old, 3.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. So fingers crossed we can get the best out of him and keep him around for a little while. We've also got Amadou Diawara, 21 years old. He's going to be playing in the centre of midfield or defensive midfield. Again, he's got good attributes for either. Another young talent who could potentially improve from his 3.5-star current rating to be a 4.5-star ability player. Him and Zaniolo can be two really good youth players who hopefully we can keep around and build a squad around. Alongside that, we've got some other central midfielders. Pellegrini, again, he's only 23, so he could be one for the future. He's not going to potentially improve as much as the other two, but he has the potential to be 4-star. He's already 3.5-star. Again, he's going to be a good little playmaker in there. He could play in the advanced role if needs be. At the back, we've got Mancini and Smalling, both on loan. Mancini on loan from Atalanta. He will be joining us permanently at the start of July next year, so we'll see how he gets on this year. But again, he's already 3.5-star, 4-star potential at 23. And obviously, as I say, we have also got Chris Smalling in on loan from United, who again isn't a bad player. He's had his potential at 29. Probably going to be someone who will just be on loan for me this season, and then I'll have a look and see what we can get in the transfer market to be a more permanent option to play alongside Mancini. Cristiante, it depends what formation we're playing, but he'll obviously be another good player to play in the central midfield or at defensive midfielder. 4.5-star, 3.5-star rather current ability, 4-star potential. So we've got a good strong midfield, couple of good centre backs. We've also got Kolarov and Florenzi on either flank. Florenzi currently out on loan at Valencia, so we might have to bring in a decent option there. But as I say, Kolarov again, he is getting on. He's similar to Dzeko at 33, but he can still do a job at left back for us. We've got Fazio here on a permanent as well, again 32. So there's quite a few older players I'm already seeing that I'll probably want to move on. With regards to young talent, if we just have a look by age, as I said, we've got Zaniolo. We've also got Justin Kluivert to play on the other side. So if Zaniolo was on the right, he'd be on the left. 3-star current ability, 4-star rather potential ability. He's only 20, so hopefully he can improve and realise that ability. We've got Ibanez in on loan, who again we've got from Atalanta and will be joining next year. He's another one who could improve a lot actually in the future in the centre of midfield, so he might be that option to replace Smalling next year. And then obviously we've got Diawara Perez as well on loan this year, and also Cengiz Under on the right hand side, who has got the potential to be a 5-star player. So potentially I'm already looking at a 4-2-3-1 probably being our best option here, and I might even look at playing Zaniolo in the middle with Under on the right. But that will be something I'll show you next episode. For now, that's a good look at the squad. One thing I have noticed is goalkeepers. The best goalkeeper is Paul Lopez. He has got the ability to improve, so it's not too bad, but he is only 3-star, so hopefully he can improve quite quickly. But we might have an investigation to see what is out there as a replacement for him. But it's a fairly good squad, quite a big squad, and hopefully something we can work with, and with a few additions we can challenge and hopefully be able to meet the club's vision, which, without further ado, we'll go and have a look at now. So, the club vision. Firstly, let's see where they want us to be at the end of the current season. So, they want us to be qualifying again for the Euro Cup, so the Europa League. They want us to reach the semi-final of the Italian Cup and the final, actually, of the Europa League. So that's going to be a big challenge to start with, to see if we can reach the Europa League final. Win some silverware, so obviously they're hoping that we do win something this year. So I think the main aim for me, if we are going to be winning silverware, is to either win the Europa League or the Italian Cup. And obviously hopefully we can qualify for the Euro Cup, but I quite personally like to see if we could qualify for the Champions League next year. Looking towards the future, they are then looking to increase the ambition and look for that first Serie A title since 2001, and these are the culture that they'd like us to do it to. So they'd like us to play some attacking football, develop the players rather, using the club's youth system, which we'll have a look in a minute. Sign players based in Brazil. Now we have obviously got the stipulation of no more than 2 non-EU players, which we are currently fulfilling in Mkhitaryan, and I think it was Under actually from Turkey. So that might be one that we might have to delay until next year. But any players that they want us to bring in, which I like, they want them to either be under 22 or under 23. Obviously with the homegrown players allowance within Serie A, they also want us to look at signing Italian players, and they want us to play direct football. So we're probably going to be looking at a really direct attacking style to play with. They want us to be breaking even, so a bit self-sufficient in the transfer market. All exciting. They're going to build us a new stadium, so that's going to be a good one. And as always, work within the wage budget. So I don't think it's too hard of a vision to fulfill. Obviously, the biggest thing I think we're going to have to look to do in the first season is really focus on that Europa League and make the final, whilst also weighing that off against qualifying for it again, or as I say, the Champions League within Serie A. So all very exciting, seems quite ambitious of the board, and hopefully we can meet that with the budgets that we have given. And looking here, we've got a little bit of money to play with. So we've got a £15 million transfer budget, 2 million, pretty much 2.1 million within the wage budget. Committed spending up at 2 million lately through. I assume that's because of the 2 players we've got coming in next year from Atlanta. But currently we're just spending over 2 million. So we have got a good little bit of wage budget to play with. 32 million in the bank, so no losses there. So hopefully we can keep the finances afloat and also be able to stick with that £15 million transfer budget at the end of the transfer market, because obviously they want us to break even in the transfer market. So all good on finances. Hopefully we can build a squad there. Good club vision. Let's see if we've got any good youth prospects knocking about either in the under 20s or the under 18s. So firstly, the under 20s, let's have a look at the squad here. So high potential players, we've certainly got one. We've got David Bois on the right hand side of the fence. He's a wing back, currently 1.5 star, but he has got the potential to be 4.5 star. Only 17, so a nice young prospect. And actually he is able at the moment to play all the way up through on the right hand side, and he does like to be an attacking wing back, which is really good to see. Really good pace attributes and acceleration, things in here that are already good, but obviously I'm sure will improve with his development. So hopefully that is one that potentially we could have a look at playing a couple of times towards the latter half of the season if his attributes have improved. But he's one of the better young prospects in the under-20 side. We've also got a couple of central midfielder in Eduardo Bove. Again, he's got the potential to be 4-star, only currently 1-star, but again, only 17. He's got a really good first touch and technique. Probably a few bits vision for it and passing bits and pieces that can slightly improve him to play in the centre of midfield. But I really like that he's got a 19 determination attribute. So that's a really good player to have down in the youth prospects. Again, a couple of wide players in Maury Bamba. He looking pretty good. 4-star potential ability. Someone who, if Zaniolo does go, we could have playing on the right side. Again, only 17. And alongside that, we've also got Viktor Plesnirovic, who we've already got in on loan from Lech. He's only 18. Concerns me that we've got him in on loan because he's unlikely to play in the year. But we will have a look at him. 1.5-star current ability. Maybe get him in for a few cup games. Potential to be 3.5-star. But a slightly odd one to have in on loan. So a fairly good bunch there down in the under-20s. Let's see if we've got anything in the under-18s as well. Yeah, biggest prospect, another attacking midfielder on the left, Daniel Balel Tweta Fotso. Again, 1-star current ability, potential to be 4-star, reasonably good pace attributes, good crossing, good first touch, could probably work on his shooting a little bit and his composure. But again, he could be a nice young prospect, only 16, so he might be one that we look out to get out on loan for a couple of years just to improve his development and then get him into the first team when it comes. So we have got some decent development prospects as well. So it is something we could potentially look to build a little squad around for the future when we're getting into those Champions League games. Hopefully we can feature a few of these young prospects down here. But all in all, it's looking like we've got a pretty well developed squad and some good young players to come into the future. So just to finish, let's have a look at the squad depth, just to see where we might be lacking a bit if any of our star players do get injured. So looking here, as I say, goalkeeper, we've got a couple of good ones. I might just bring one in just to sort of go over the top of all those, maybe a little bit better than Pau Lopez. Right back, that might be somewhere to bring in a replacement. We've obviously got Florenzi, who is going to be coming back after his loan spell. Zappacosta is at the club, and Spinazzola rather, but perhaps good right back in there. We'll just round off the defence. We've got a pretty good, strong centre defence with Juan Jesus and Mert Stetin, who can come in if needs be when we're short. Kolarov obviously is exceptional on this left-hand side. Maybe just a younger version of him, just to replace him as he starts to deteriorate with his age. Defensive midfield, we're not too good, but as I said earlier, I think I'm going to look at a 4-2-3-1. So we are quite strong in the middle with a couple of good young prospects, and obviously Pellegrini and Cristante, who are already up there as being really good players for us. Across the front line, really good in here, left, right and central. All players that we can sort of adjust to play in different positions. And then obviously up front, as I said, we've really just got Dzeko. So I think this is going to be the main area where I might be looking to bring in a few replacements. But we will see in the next episode, which, as I mentioned, will feature all the transfers that I've made, along with our first Serie A game of the season against Fiorentina. So fingers crossed we can get off to a good start there. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then please press the like button down below. Subscribe to see more Football Manager videos, and thank you for coming along and watching.